When?
Hi and welcome back to Collective Kitchens Online. Today we are going to do some Korean dishes. We're going to start off with a super simple Korean beef and rice bowl, and then I'm going to show you how to make some Banchan, which are Korean side dishes. Very easy, very fresh, can be done in under half an hour. So I'm going to start off with a little bit of oil on a medium-high heat. And while that heats up, I'm just going to grate our ginger. So this recipe calls for about a thumb of ginger. If you like it a little spicier, you can go more, less, whatever you like. Easiest way to peel ginger is with a spoon. Just literally take the spoon, rub it against the ginger like that, and it comes straight off, gets into all of the nooks and crannies. Really, really helpful. I have actually stopped grating my ginger because I found it doesn't really make a difference. It's just a little bit of extra fiber, doesn't cause you any harm, and I can never taste the difference anyway. So personally, I think it's completely up to you whether you want to grate the ginger. That is your prerogative. So, about a thumb's worth. Perfect. And we'll leave that there for a minute. And start searing our beef. So you might have bison in your Collective Kitchens hamper instead. If that's the case, it's basically cooking it is the same as beef, but you may want to put a little bit more oil because it tends to be a little leaner. So break it up into chunks. And because beef is so easy and low maintenance, I'm just going to let that brown for a little bit while I move on to some of our banchan. So, we have a bunch of spinach here. I'm going to just use half because we won't eat all of it in this household, but go ahead and do the whole thing if you like. And I'm going to cut off the stems, and then I've got a pot of boiling water here, and I'm just going to blanch those. So they're going to go in for 1 minute, just until they get really, really green. And then I will take them out and strain them. Okay, now as you can see, we have half a cucumber here chopped up. How you want to chop it is completely up to you. You can do it in coins, strips, whatever you like. Just going to grab this. Okay, so that's been in there long enough. Then just run some cold water over it to stop the cooking process. And then that can just sit there, let the water drain out of it a little bit, and because we're going to squeeze all the water out anyway. Okay, so for most of these recipes, we're going to use toasted sesame seeds. which you can find in store but are a little trickier. So we're just going to toast our own. So over a pretty low heat, you want to keep an eye on them and you want to move them around pretty regularly, just so they don't burn. That's good. We're going to let some of this water evaporate. Okay, and then into our cucumber is going to go some sesame oil, about 2 cloves of garlic, we only use half a cucumber here, so I'm going to use about half the amount of gochugaru that is in the recipe. And some soy sauce. And just a tiny bit of sugar. And then you can use your hands or a spoon or chopsticks or whatever. I find hand works best to just meld these flavors together. Mix everything really, really well. Okay, that can set. Go back to our sesame seeds, which are toasting nicely. Like I said, they're in really low heat, so they don't have to worry about burning. And our meat is most of the water has evaporated, which is great. So we're gonna move on to the next step. I have a 1/4 cup of brown sugar. We're gonna do the same, a 1/4 cup of soy sauce. About 2 teaspoons of sesame oil, some black pepper, and some red chili flakes. Give that a whisk. And then we pour that over the beef. Make sure it's all stirred in nicely, and then you're going to let this caramelize and sit for at least a couple minutes. You want those sugars to caramelize nicely.
Two-handed.
We're just going to, because I forgot to add it to the mix, we're just going to add in that fresh ginger that we grated earlier. Just make sure that is nicely mixed in. And we've also chucked in 3 cloves of garlic, which we have somewhere. No, that was it. No. Okay. These are looking nice and toasted, pretty much done. I'm going to take that off the heat. And we're going to move on to our spinach. Okay, so our spinach is mostly drained, but we're just going to squeeze out any excess water that we have. You can see I'm just using my hands to squeeze that out. And then we want to separate it just with your fingers. You can just start tearing it into strips. And dress it with our sesame oil, our soy sauce, our garlic, and a whole bunch of green onions. And then, of course, your toasted sesame seeds. Make sure that garlic is really mixed through. And you can use your fingers here as well, it's normally easier. Okay. On the cucumber, you want to add the sesame seed right at the end, just on top. So our beef is done nicely, browned, not too much liquid left at all. And it is as simple as that. Beef, green onions, and of course toasted sesame seeds. Then you have your main dish with your 2 sides of banchan. Hope you enjoy.